The stars outside the ship's windows stretched like silver threads in the darkness. Captain Jace Ward sat quietly, his sharp eyes watching the patterns in space. Earth's flag was stitched neatly on his shoulder, and though his uniform was clean and pressed, his mind was heavy with worry. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. Now, he was a diplomat. The Terran Coalition had chosen him to represent humanity on the planet Arcavia, home of the proud and powerful Arcavian people. Peace between the two species had been fragile since the last war. Small conflicts kept rising, and many believed it was only a matter of time before a larger war broke out. Jace's mission was simple but dangerous: keep peace alive. As his ship, the Solace, entered Arcavian orbit, Jace stood up and adjusted his jacket. He had trained for battle most of his life, not politics. But Earth needed someone who understood both, and that was him. Captain Ward, the pilot, said. "We're ready for descent." Jace gave a nod. "Let's begin." The Arcavian capital city, Veltereth, was a stunning place. Tall crystal towers touched the clouds, and the sky had a faint violet glow. The landing platform was guarded by armored soldiers with gleaming spears and masks shaped like hawks. They didn't smile. They didn't speak. As Jace stepped off the ship, he was met by his escort and the one person he had been warned about, Commander Lycery. She was tall, her posture perfect, with long dark hair braided tight against silver armor. Her violet eyes scanned Jace like a scanner looking for threats. Her voice was calm but sharp. "You're late," she said. Jace raised an eyebrow. "You didn't miss much." She didn't laugh. Instead, she turned and walked away. "This way," she said over her shoulder. He followed. Their first meeting was in the Arcavian High Council chamber. The hall was cold, made of black stone and gold lines. It smelled of incense and metal. Jace stood before 5 council members, Arcavian elders dressed in long robes. Lycery stood at his side, arms crossed. "Captain Ward," one elder spoke, "Earth says it wants peace, but sends a soldier." "Why?" Jace's voice was steady. "Because I've seen war, and I want no part of another one." The room went quiet. Lycery turned her head slightly. She didn't expect that answer. Another elder leaned forward. "There are rumors that your fleet moves near our borders." "There are rumors on both sides," Jace replied. "But rumors don't build peace. Trust does." The council spoke in their language for a moment. Then one said, "You will work with Commander Lycery. Together, you will inspect our shared border. If peace is your goal, show it." Jace gave a short bow. "Understood." Lycery didn't look pleased. Later, they walked through the council gardens. Large glowing flowers lit the path, and silver birds chirped softly from nearby trees. But the calm didn't reach either of them. "You don't belong here," Lycery said finally. Jace looked at her. "I've been told that before. You're not a diplomat. You're a weapon. Earth sends you here not for peace but to watch us." He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "You're not wrong. I was a weapon. Now I want to protect something instead of destroy it." She turned to face him fully. "My brother died in the last war," she said, her voice quieter. A Terran squad surrounded him. They didn't let him surrender. Jace's jaw tightened. "I'm sorry. I didn't tell you for an apology," she said sharply. "I told you so you understand who I am. I don't trust humans. I don't trust you." "Good," he said. "Then we have something in common." For the first time, her expression changed. Not a smile, but something close, a flicker of curiosity. Their first mission together came the next day. A supply station near the edge of the shared zone had gone silent. Both sides sent a representative. Jace and Lycery were chosen. The journey was quiet. Neither spoke much, but both watched, studied. When they reached the station, they found it in ruins. The walls were burned, wires exposed, lights flickering. There were no bodies, just silence. "This wasn't an accident," Lycery said, scanning the damage. Jace crouched near a control panel. "Explosives, small charges. Someone wanted this place empty." He looked around, but not destroyed, just abandoned. Suddenly, Lycery drew her blade. A small noise echoed down the hall. Jace pulled out a compact scanner. Movement 1. Life form. They moved silently, side by side. through a broken door. They found a child and Arcavian boy, hiding behind a crate. His arm was bleeding. Lycery rushed forward. "It's okay," she said in her language. "We won't hurt you." The boy whispered something. "What did he say?" Jace asked. "He said a man in black armor came. He said to tell no one, or the war would begin again." Jace and Lycery locked eyes. This wasn't just an attack, it was a warning. That night, back at the embassy, Jace stood on the balcony looking at the twin moons of Arcavia. Lycery joined him. "I don't think it was Terran or Arcavian," he said. "I think someone wants us to fight." She nodded slowly, a third hand in the shadows. Jace turned to her. "We'll need to trust each other." She stared at him, her face unreadable. "Trust," she repeated, easier said than done. Then she walked away. But this time, she didn't walk alone. A red sun rose over the Arcavian capital, painting the towers in warm light. But there was no peace in Jace Ward's heart. The image of the damaged station, the frightened boy, and the warning still echoed in his mind. Inside the embassy, Jace sat in a quiet room, watching the message play back again. The boy's voice trembled. He said, "If anyone talks, the war begins again." Who was this man in black armor? Why leave the child alive to deliver a message? There was only one answer that made sense to Jace. Someone wants to start a war, he said softly. Later that morning, Jace met Lycery in the council war room. She stood tall, wearing her silver armor and a stern look. "I spoke with the council," she said. "They think the humans attacked the station." Jace frowned. "We didn't. They think Earth wants to push our borders." He crossed his arms. "And what do you think?" Lycery didn't answer right away. Her violet eyes studied his face. "I think the truth is hiding somewhere between us." Jace walked to the map display. The station was small. It didn't matter much, but the location did. Whoever destroyed it wanted to break trust. "Which they are doing," Lycery said. "The council is preparing a response." "What kind of response?" Her silence said enough. That evening, a secret message arrived at the embassy. Jace opened it alone. "Meet me at the archive spire. Midnight, come alone. Trust no one. No name, no code." But the location was clear, an old tower used by Arcavian scholars. It was closed to the public. He prepared quietly, hiding a small pulse pistol and data chip in his jacket. He left a note for Lycery, just in case something went wrong. At midnight, the archive spire stood tall and silent. Its stone doors were unlocked. Inside, the halls were dark and filled with dust. Light crystals on the walls glowed faintly. Jace moved slowly, senses sharp. A voice came from the shadows. "Human, over here." A figure stepped forward, an old Arcavian in a hooded cloak. His hands trembled as he handed over a data disk. This proves it," he said. "The attack, it wasn't ordered by Earth or by the Council." Jace took the disk. "Who then?" "There's a group, hidden, on both sides. They want war for profit. Why give this to me?" "Because peace matters, and because they're watching me. I won't live much longer." A noise echoed down the hall. "Go," the old man said. "Now." Jace ran. As he exited the spire, two figures in black armor dropped down from the roof. "Target spotted," one said into a comm device. Jace didn't wait. He rolled to the side, dodging a blast of red energy. He fired once, hitting a wall, then ran into the alley, his boots pounding against the stone floor. Behind him, the attackers followed without speaking. Fast, silent, professional. He jumped over a low wall, ran through a garden, and reached the edge of the council district. A patrol drone spotted him. "Identify yourself." "Captain Ward, Terran Embassy," he gasped. Being chased, the drone scanned him and activated a shield. Lycery appeared moments later, her blade drawn. "I got your note," she said. "You're lucky I came." Jace handed her the disc. "This is what they wanted to stop." She took it, her face turning serious. "Come, we'll study it together." Back at the embassy, they played the data. It showed hidden meetings, humans and Arcavians in secret robes, discussing weapon shipments, border strikes, and false reports. "They're planning more attacks," Lycery said. "On both sides." Jace nodded. to make both sides angry, afraid, ready for war. They call themselves the Flame, she added. They believe peace makes us weak, but war makes them rich, Jace said. Weapons, power, control. They sat in silence for a moment. Do you think the council will believe this? Jace asked. No, she replied. They will say it's fake, planted by Earth. Then we need proof, real proof. She looked at him with something new in her eyes. Respect. Are you ready to break rules, Captain? He smiled. Only the ones that need breaking. The next day, Lysery called a private meeting with a trusted friend in the city guard. Meanwhile, Jace sent a coded message to Earth Command, warning them not to respond to any sudden Arcavian attacks until he confirmed the situation. Now we wait, he said, but they didn't have to wait long. That night, news broke across both worlds. A Terran ship had attacked an Arcavian mining colony. Hundreds feared dead. Lysery stared at the report. This is a lie. Your people wouldn't do this after what we found. Jace stood up. They didn't. It's a fake signal. The flame is moving faster than we thought. He looked at her. We have to stop them. Now, together, they took a fast ship to the nearest neutral zone. There, a merchant known for illegal trades was said to have direct contact with the flame. Disguised as mercenaries, Jace and Lysery entered the market. Jace wore rough clothes and a mask. Lysery kept her armor hidden under a cloak. The marketplace was loud, full of strange music and flashing lights. Traders sold weapons, tech, and rare alien pets. It smelled like oil and spice. They found the merchant, a four-armed creature with orange skin. We're looking for a job, Jace said. What kind of job? The kind the flame offers. The merchant narrowed his eyes. You're brave to say that name. Lysery leaned closer. We don't fear shadows. The merchant smiled slowly. Then follow me. They were led to a back room. Maps covered the walls. Several names were circled targets, ships, leaders. The flame was planning more strikes. Jace tapped the hidden recorder in his jacket. This was the proof they needed. Suddenly, the merchant turned. To Brave, he said. You're not who you say you are. Alarms sounded, doors locked. A hidden panel opened and more black-armored soldiers stepped out. Lysery drew her blade. Jace raised his pulse gun. Back to back, they prepared to fight. The air was thick with smoke and danger. Jace Ward stood back to back with Commander Lysery in the dark chamber. Behind the alien merchant's shop, the flame soldiers, dressed in black armor, surrounded them. Their red visors glowed in the shadows. Lysery's voice was calm but sharp. 5 enemies, 2 exits, 1 block. Jace nodded. We go loud. The first shot came fast. Jace dropped low and fired, hitting the nearest attacker in the leg. Lysery spun forward, her silver blade flashing. She moved like lightning, graceful and deadly. One soldier tried to block her strike, but she knocked his weapon aside and kicked him into the wall. 2 more flame soldiers aimed their blasters at Jace. He dove behind a crate as energy beams exploded into the metal around him. He rolled, came up on one knee, and shot back. 1 enemy dropped. Lysery leapt over a table and landed in front of the last attacker. She raised her blade to his neck. Don't move, she said. The man froze. Jace stood beside her, breathing hard. I'm guessing this wasn't part of the merchant's welcome package. No, Lysery said. But now we know. The flame is real, and they are close. They searched the room quickly. Behind a false wall, they found crates of weapons marked with both Terran and Arcavian symbols. Proof that the flame was stealing from both sides. Jace picked up a small data tablet, coordinates, supply routes, names. Lysery looked over his shoulder. What is the Iron Maw? He zoomed in on the map. It's not a place I've heard before, but it's located in the dead zone, inside a collapsing nebula. She narrowed her eyes. Only smugglers go there, or people who want to stay. Hidden, then that's where the flame is hiding. Back at their ship, they locked the data and prepared for launch. As the engines hummed to life, Jace looked at Lysery. You know this might be a one-way trip. I've taken worse, she said. Have you? He smiled slightly. Once, during the siege of Zarn 3, I was trapped behind enemy lines for 9 days. She raised an eyebrow. How did you survive? I ate ration bars, sang songs to myself, and promised that if I got out, I'd never go back to war again. She looked at him quietly. But here you are. Jace looked out the window. Some promises are harder to keep. The journey to the dead zone took a full day. As they approached the Iron Maw's location, space began to shift. The stars disappeared behind thick red and purple clouds. Lightning sparked in the dark mist. The ship's systems flickered. Gravity is unstable here, Lysri said, checking the controls. Hold on. The ship rocked as they entered the storm. Visibility dropped to almost zero. Jace tightened his seatbelt. Are we sure this is the right place? Suddenly, through the storm, something massive appeared. A huge space station floated in the shadows. Hidden inside the nebula, its surface was black, covered with sharp towers and spinning satellites. The Iron Maw, Lysri whispered. They flew closer. Jace spotted several ships docked, some Terran, some Arcavian, and some unknown. No official flags, he said, but a lot of stolen ships. They're building something here, Lysri said. Something dangerous. They landed quietly on a side platform, wearing cloaks and fake IDs. They entered the station pretending to be traders. Inside, the Iron Maw was a city of shadows. Weapons, tech, stolen goods all traded like food in a market. People spoke in low voices. Security bots floated overhead. Jace and Lysri moved through the crowd, careful not to be noticed. A tall alien walked by, speaking into a communicator. Phase 2 begins tomorrow. First strike targets Earth, then Arcavia. Jace and Lysri exchanged a look. They followed the alien to a control room guarded by 2 black-armored soldiers. We can't fight them here, Jace whispered. Too many witnesses. We need information, Lysri said. Let me try. She walked forward confidently, speaking in Arcavian. I bring orders from Commander Vale. The guards looked confused. We didn't hear. You weren't supposed to, she said coldly. Now step aside. The guards hesitated, then moved. Jace shook his head. Remind me not to argue with you. Inside, they found a war table covered with maps and plans. A large screen showed targets blinking. Across Earth and Arcavian space. JACE started copying data. They planned to attack major cities, disrupt communication, make both sides think the other is starting war. Lysri scanned the files. If this succeeds, Earth and Arcavia will destroy each other before the truth comes out. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. They found our ship, Jace said. We need to move, now. They grabbed what they could and rushed out, blending into the crowd. But the station was on alert. Sirens rang out. Guards shouted in many languages. Jace and Lysri ducked into a storage room. Lock the door. We need another way out, he said. There's a service tunnel. Lysri pointed to a maintenance map. Through the gravity core. They ran again, dodging patrols, crawling through vents and tunnels. The path led them to the center of the station, a giant spinning core with flashing lights and floating walkways. The gravity was unstable. Floors shifted. Objects floated. We need to cross that, Lysri said. I've had worse ideas, Jace said, half joking. They jumped from platform to platform. A patrol spotted them and opened fire. Lysri leapt across the gap and pulled Jace forward. They slid behind a metal shield. Go, she shouted. I'll cover. But Jace didn't move. Not without you. They fought side by side again, until they reached the exit tunnel. Behind them, the core pulsed louder. Let's overload it, Jace said. We destroy the station. Stop the flame. It's dangerous. I know. She looked at him. Then I'll do it. No, Jace said. This one's on me. He set a charge near the core, then ran back as alarms screamed. They raced down the tunnel and reached their ship just in time. Engines roared. To life, the Iron Maw exploded behind them, sending shock waves through the nebula. Lysri looked at the fire in the sky. One station down. But the war isn't over yet. Jace sat beside her. We hit them hard. We have proof. Now we go back. She looked at him, her eyes fierce and steady. We go back, she said, and finish this. The stars were quiet. But Jace Ward's mind was not. He stood at the edge of the viewing deck, watching the last sparks of the Iron Moss station fade into the nebula behind them. The mission had been dangerous. They had risked everything to get the truth, and now they had it. Commander Lysery walked in, her boots silent on the metal floor. She held the stolen data tablet from the Iron Maw in her hand. "Transmission complete," she said. "We sent the evidence to both Earth Command and the Arcavian High Council." Jace turned to her, and they replied with silence. He sighed. "That's not a good sign." "No," she agreed. "They're thinking, or they're afraid." Jace leaned on the railing. "What if they ignore the truth? What if they still choose war?" Lysery stepped beside him. "Then we fight for peace, even if it means fighting our own people." He looked at her, surprised by her words. "Did you ever think we'd end up like this?" he asked. She gave a small smile. "No, but now that we're here, I'm not leaving." They returned to Arcavia the next morning. The sky above the capital city was cloudy. News screens showed panic across both Earth and Arcavian territories. People were afraid. Rumors of war were spreading. Fast, Jace and Lysery brought the proof to the council building, guarded by elite warriors. But they were not welcomed with honor. Councillor Jin, the oldest and most respected leader, stood at the front. His face was serious, his voice cold. "You left without permission. You broke alliance rules, and you bring stolen information, Jace. Step forward, because the flame is real. They're working inside your government and ours." Jin narrowed his eyes. "And you expect us to believe this, based on shadows and explosions?" Lysery placed the data tablet on the table. "This is real. We saw it. We fought them. They plan to attack both Earth and Arcavia." The council whispered among themselves. Finally, Jin spoke again. "You will be held for questioning until we verify this story." "What?" Jace asked. "You want to lock us up after all we've done?" "Beast is not built by chaos, Captain Ward," Jin said. "Take them." Guards moved forward. Jace and Lysery stepped back. "Don't." Lysery warned. "We're not the enemy." But the guards didn't stop. Jace's voice was calm but firm. "Then we walk out. Now, or things get worse." Jin raised his hand. "Let them go. But if one more spark falls, it will be the last." Back at the embassy, Jace slammed his fist on the table. "They don't want peace. They want safety. They're afraid to act." Lysery leaned against the wall. "Or someone in the council is working with the flame." Jace looked at her. "We need help." Lysery nodded. "There's someone I trust, a captain in the rebel fleet. She's hidden deep in the Arcavian mountains. But she listens, and she believes in truth." "Then we find her," Jace said. "Before it's too late." They left the city in a small flyer, flying low over green hills and rocky cliffs. The sky grew darker as they moved away from the lights of the capital. After hours of flight, they reached a hidden base inside a mountain cave. There, they met Captain Saren, a strong woman with a scar over her eye and a voice like stone. "You brought proof?" she asked. Lysery handed her the data. "We saw their base. We fought their soldiers. The flame is real." Saren watched the footage carefully. After a long silence, she spoke. "You were right to come. My people will listen. We've seen signs of the ships going missing, false messages, broken orders." Jace felt hope rise again. "Then help us. We need to warn both sides and stop the next attack." Saren nodded. "Then you have allies now. We'll stand with you." That night, in the mountain base, Jace sat near a fire, staring into the flames. His hands were tired, and his heart even more so. Lysery joined him quietly. "You don't sleep much," she said. "Not lately," he replied. "Too much on my mind." She sat beside him, the firelight dancing in her eyes. "You didn't have to come this far," she said. "You could have gone home, left this to someone else." He looked at her. "I came this far because of you." She was quiet. Then she stood and stepped closer. Without warning, she grabbed the front of his jacket and pushed him gently against the wall behind him. Her eyes were sharp, but her voice was soft. "Don't you dare love anyone else," she said. Jace blinked, surprised. "What? You heard me?" He smiled, heart pounding. I didn't know you cared that much. I didn't know either. She whispered. Until I thought we might not make it. They stood there for a moment, close, silent. The world outside was falling apart. But here, in this quiet place, something else was beginning. The next day, everything changed. An urgent message came through. An Arcavian war fleet had launched early, headed toward a Terran colony. Earth, thinking it was an act of war, had armed its defense systems. The war was starting. Captain Saren stood in the war room. This is it. We must act now. If we wait, millions will die. Jace nodded. Then we intercept the fleet. Broadcast. The truth. Show them the flames plans before the first shot is fired. Leslie put on her armor. Then let's go. On board Saren's ship, they flew toward the border, racing against time. As they neared the fleet, Earth's defense network locked on the approaching ships. We're out of time, Jace said. Start the broadcast. Saren activated the signal. Across both sides of space, screens lit up. The footage from the Iron Maw played. The stolen weapons, the war plans. The names of traitors inside the governments. Leslie stepped forward in the message. This war is not real. It is a trap. The true enemy hides in shadow. Listen before it's too late. The signal ended. Silence followed. Then, one by one, the ships in the Arcavian fleet slowed down. On Earth, the defense network stopped counting down. Jace exhaled. For now, he said. We've stopped the fire. The message had gone out. The whole galaxy had seen the truth. Jace Ward stood on the bridge of Captain Saren's ship, eyes locked on the view screen. Dozens of Arcavian warships floated ahead of them. In deep space, engines powered down. No missiles. No attacks. Just silence. Beside him, Commander Leslie waited, her hands clenched behind her back. Her voice was calm, but Jace could hear the storm beneath it. They're hesitating, she said. For now, Jace replied. But hesitation is not the same as belief. They saw the truth, she said. Yes, Jace agreed. But some people don't want to believe the truth, not when lies feel easier. Saren's voice came over the comms. Incoming transmission. From Earth Command. On screen, Jace said. A gray-haired human general appeared. His eyes were tired but focused. Captain Ward, you are far outside your diplomatic limits. He said, explain yourself. Jace stood tall. We found proof of a secret group, the Flame, working inside both Earth and Arcavian governments. They were behind the station attack. Behind everything. The general frowned. You expect us to believe that based on stolen data and a rebel broadcast? Leslie stepped forward. You're already believing it. That's why your missiles are still cold. There was silence on the other end. Finally, the general sighed. You have 24 hours. If the Arcavian fleet doesn't retreat, we defend our borders. The screen went dark. Jace sat alone in the ship's ready room. The weight of the mission sat heavy on his shoulders. They had shown the truth. Stopped the first attack, but were still hung in the air like a loaded weapon. Leslie entered quietly. You look tired, she said. I feel worse, Jace replied. She sat across from him. Do you regret it? No, he said. But I wonder if it's enough. She leaned forward, her eyes serious. Do you know why I pushed you against that wall? He blinked. Because you didn't want me to love anyone else. That was part of it, she said, smiling softly. But mostly because I didn't want to lose you. Not in war. Not in politics. Not in silence. Jace looked at her, then gently reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Then let's not lose now, he said. The next morning, news arrived from the edge of space. A flame fleet had attacked a neutral outpost, pretending to be Terran soldiers. Hundreds were missing. This time, they left behind false evidence, again pointing at Earth. But now, people were asking questions. Earth didn't send those ships. Arcavia denied involvement. Who? Then, the flame was slipping. Captain Saren gathered her officers. They're pushing harder. They're angry. They know we're breaking their lies. We need to go on the offensive, Jace said. If we wait, they'll keep spreading fear. Leslie nodded. We must strike their remaining base. The data from the Iron Maw listed a backup facility deep in the outer moons of Soria. Saren agreed. Then we go. We finished this. Their fleet was small, only 8 ships, mostly rebels and volunteers, but each one carried brave souls ready to fight for peace. Humans and Arcavians worked side by side, engineers, pilots, soldiers all together. As the fleet launched, Jay stood in the command center, watching stars blur past. I never thought I'd lead a mixed species force, he said. Lacery stood beside him. I never thought I'd trust a human with my life. He smiled. You've trusted me with more than that. She looked away, but her hand brushed his. The flame base was hidden under ice deep inside a frozen moon, a black fortress covered with turrets and shield towers. Their scanners showed hundreds of enemy ships inside. We can't win this in a full battle. Saren said, they'll outnumber us. Then we don't fight them all. Jace replied. We hit their core, their command center. If we take out the leaders, the army falls apart. The strike team was formed. Jace, Lacery, and 6 soldiers. Their goal, enter the fortress, take down the flame leaders, and destroy the control systems. The rest of the fleet would create a distraction. Saren's last words before the drop were simple. Come back. The team dropped onto the icy surface in silence, covered by the noise of battle above. Explosions lit the sky. Smoke covered the stars. Inside the fortress, the halls were cold and dark. Jace moved first, pulse weapon ready. Lacery led the way, her sword glowing with light. They met resistance. Flame soldiers opened fire. Jace rolled into cover and returned shots. Lacery charged forward, her strikes fast and powerful. The team advanced room by room. In the heart of the base, they found the control center, dozens of monitors, communication systems, and tactical maps. And standing in the middle, General Adrix, Jace's former commander. Jace froze. You? He said. Adrix smiled coldly. Surprised. You were a hero, Jace said. I'm a hero, Adrix replied. I'm saving Earth, and you're standing in the way. Jace raised his weapon. You betrayed everything. No, Adrix said. I saw the truth. Peace makes us weak. War makes us ready. Lacery stepped forward. You're wrong. And it ends now. Adrix moved fast. He fired a shot that hit one of their soldiers. Jace dived forward, tackling him. The 2 men struggled on the ground. Lysri and the others disabled the systems, planting charges to destroy the base. Jace punched Adrix hard. You almost ended everything. And you still will, Adrix spat. But Jace didn't answer. He simply stood up and turned away. Lacery pulled Jace out as the charges counted down. They raced through the icy halls as alarms rang out. 5 minutes to detonation, a voice said. The team reached the surface. Their ship was waiting, engines hot. They jumped aboard just as the fortress exploded behind them, letting up the moon. The flame's final stronghold was gone. Back in orbit, the rebel fleet cheered. Flame ships fled or surrendered. The war, once so close, now seemed far away. Jace stood beside Lacery, watching the light of the destroyed base fade into space. It's over, he said. For now. She replied. But we changed something. They'll never forget this day. He nodded. And I'll never forget you. She looked at him, eyes shining. You better not, she said, smiling. Peace didn't come with fireworks or celebration. It came with silence. After the destruction of the Flame's final base, the stars above the frozen moon seemed calm, quiet for the first time. In many weeks, no battles, no alarms, just the sound of the engines humming and the soft voices of tired soldiers breathing easier. Jace Ward stood by the large window of the command ship, watching the stars. His body was still sore from the mission, but his heart was heavier. So many lives lost, and yet so many saved. Behind him, Commander Lacery entered the room quietly. She walked up beside him and stared out into space. The flame is gone, she said. He nodded, yes. But their damage will take time to repair. The truth will spread, she said. People will see what really happened. They'll argue first, Jace replied. There will be debates, accusations, but at least they'll be talking. She turned toward him and us. Jace smiled softly. We'll keep standing, like we always do. 2 days later, They returned to Arcavia. This time, the city was different. No sirens. No soldiers marching in the streets. The capital was calm. Though the tension had not completely faded, counselors had met them at the spaceport. He stood, with several leaders behind him, his expression serious but not angry. "You proved your point," he said, "and risked your lives to do so." Lycery gave a respectful bow. "We only did what was right," she nodded. "The High Council has reviewed the evidence. We now believe that war was being pushed from the shadows, not from Earth." He looked at Chase. "Humanity has proven something today. Not its power, but its honor." Chase nodded. "We want peace, truly, and we're willing to fight for it, even if the battle is not with weapons." The council gave its final word. The alliance between Earth and Arcavia would remain, stronger than before. Later that evening, a celebration was held in the garden of the embassy. It was not loud or grand, just quiet music, soft lights, and people from both worlds sharing food, laughter, and stories. Jay stood near the balcony, holding a small glass of Arcavian fruit wine. He watched the stars again. Even after everything, they looked peaceful and touched by war. Lycery walked up to him, wearing simple robes instead of armor. Her long hair flowed freely. "Do you always stare at the sky?" she asked. "It reminds me that we're small," he said, "but we can still make a big difference." She stood beside him, close enough that their arms touched. "You were brave." He looked at her. "So were you?" She smiled. "Do you remember what I said to you before the final battle?" He grinned. "I remember everything." Her eyes locked with his. "Good, because I still mean it." Jace took a deep breath, and this time, "I'll say something back." She tilted her head. "Oh," he faced her fully. "I don't want to love anyone else, either." Lycery didn't say anything. She just stepped forward and gently placed her forehead against his, a silent promise. A connection beyond words. The next morning, Jace received a message from Earth Command. "Captain Ward, your mission is complete. A transport is ready to bring you home." He read it twice, then turned off the screen. Lycery entered a moment later. "You're leaving?" she asked. "I got the order," he said, "but I haven't accepted yet." She looked at him carefully. "Why not?" He walked toward her slowly. "Because Earth doesn't feel like home anymore." She didn't answer, just watched him quietly. "I think I found something here," he continued. "Something worth staying for." "You mean peace?" "I mean you," he said softly, for the first time. She looked unsure. "I've never thought of a life outside duty," she whispered. "Then think about it." "Now," he said. "We could build something. Together." She looked down for a moment, then nodded. "Then stay." Months passed. The alliance grew stronger. New trade routes opened. Soldiers returned home. Rebuilding began across both Earth and Arcavia. Jace and Lycery worked as leaders in the new peacekeeping unit team made of both humans and Arcavians. Their stories spread across the stars, the soldier and the warrior who stopped a war. Some call it luck, some call it fate, but those who knew them understood the truth. It was love, not just between them, but love for their people, for peace, for what was right. One day, as they walked together through the council garden, a young cadet ran up with news. "Captain Ward, Commander Lycery, a small planet near the border is asking for help. A disagreement between settlers. They want a fair judge from both species." Jace and Lycery exchanged a glance. She smiled. "Want to take another mission?" He chuckled. "Only if you're coming with me." She took his hand. "Always." As they boarded their shuttle, someone asked Jace, "How did you survive all those battles, all that danger?" He smiled and looked at Lycery. "Because every time I thought I was done, she pushed me forward," he said. "Sometimes against a wall, sometimes into a fight, but always forward." And so, the man from Earth and the warrior from Arcavia flew into the stars once more, not for war, not for glory, but for hope. Together, because when the galaxy tried to fall apart, they stood like a wall and held it together.